So today we are in a different location and we're doing a spot of mold making. Silicon in hand, whatever that is. That's a knife. I'm just going to chop the end off of this because today we are going to be shimming up Holly Bendal's seated figures, which are just over here. I came in last Saturday because they are under this plastic roof and the sun was out and it was drying the pieces out. So Holly asked me if I could come over and just stick a bit of rubber on there quite quickly. I put the flow coat on, then I put the butter coat on. And what we're going to be doing now is today I'm going to shim these pieces up, so our dividing lines, where to separate the mold, and then we're going to put another flow coat on to secure the shims. And then from there we're going to put the second butter coat, and then make sure it's nice and smooth to then follow the fiberglass jacket to make the mother mold. So yeah, let's get cracking. You can't even open the silicone. I normally use the Everblast or Everlast. This stuff is the only stuff they had, but we are gonna roll with it. So we're just gonna chop the top off of that bad boy. Get our playing cards ready. We're gonna use playing cards because they are a damn sight cheaper than the bubbled shim. The bubbled shim has really good vacuumed raised bubbles for locating. So your two halves of the mother mold, your two halves of the rubber silicone meet together, and then one side it will have a raised bubble and the other side it will have a concave, so they'll just lock in place. But we can use keys on the outside of the rubber for the jacket to then fuse to. So for a quick, easy, simple, effective way, I use playing cards. The silicone that we use is a Celastic 3481 silicone base, and then we use a fast cure catalyst, which is a 10:1 ratio. So it's every 100 grams of silicone, you use 10 grams of catalyst. And then to get this lovely thick thixotropic mixture to put on top of your flow coat, we have a thixotropic agent. Now these products are bought from, I get mine from a company called Polysil, but there are a variety of different outlets that supply this rubber. But this is a really good top of the range molding silicone, which you then can produce extra additions of your work. You can get some cheaper silicones, but the only problem with them is their longevity, their elasticity doesn't last very long. But with this stuff, it's very elastic, and it's just got really good durability. So I 100% recommend the 3481 for addition mold making. If you're in film props or anything like that, there is a very much cheaper option, which basically if you only need one cast out of the mold, then I would suggest using that stuff. But if you're wanting an addition of 10, 9, 15 or whatever the number is, use a 3481 Celastic because it is highly durable and it just works really well. So as I've already put the rubber on, it is now time to do the shim work. Now basically the shim is to divide the molds. When we come to demold, the work, it is basically, these are going to enable us to know exactly where we're going to cut the mold, and also it's going to give us a nice bed to build rubber up to, so that we have something meaty to screw together. So this piece is going to be relatively simple to shim up. It's going to be we're going to go down the sides of the legs, and we're going to probably cut them off at the knees. So we're going to have a two-part mold on the knees, and then we're probably going to go along the side here from the bottom all the way up the side to the back of his ear, and then around the top of the hat. And then we're going to have a lovely simple two-part mold front and back. And with this one, because he's got overhanging arms, we're going to have to shim up on the inside of his hands like this, and then probably on the underside as well, so then this side can then pop out. But anyway, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through it step by step. But first off, we're going to use the silicone. If you have iced cakes before, this is a really good simple way of attaching shims. Most people in the mold making world use the silicone that we use to actually mold the work, but for a few years I did that, and then actually I spent a time with a man called Andrew Sinclair, and he then taught me that this stuff adheres to this silicone just as well as the silicone itself. and it's really quick. So you create a big, nice chunky bead, like so. And this is the beautiful thing about playing cards, is that the size of them. With bubbled shim, and I'm not dissing bubbled shim, FYI, I am just the pros and cons. The pros and cons of both. But basically, this is a good width and a good size that you don't necessarily have to cut the shim to the face of the mold. Now with this stuff, you can literally put them on and they stay. Whereas if you were to use bubbled shim, already I would have had to cut to the surface. Sorry, I would have had to cut the edge of the shim to marry up with the face of the mold. Whereas this stuff is really good because it just really quickly pops on, like so. And you can just pop a little bit of silicone behind each join to glue each card to its neighbour. If you really want to give it a little bit more rigidity and safeguard it from falling over, the trusty masking tape is the one. You can go around the edges like so. Boop. Lovely. And what this does, it gives the whole thing a rigidity and makes 6 cards one long one. So you're going down the join. This edge here, where I've beaded, this edge needs smoothing out. So just lick the tip of your finger and you're just gonna smooth out that silicone so then it's completely invisible. Beauty. Now, that there is a quick tip on how to apply the shim. I have finished the task of shimming up these beautiful little seated figures. And as you can see, they're slightly different from one another. This one's got like a rimmed hat. So what we've done is I've just shimmed up around the front of it. The back of it's okay because I'm going to fill his neck here. I'm going to fill this area up with silicone. So actually this is going to be a flat area anyway. But here it's going to have a bit of a lock. So what we've done is we've made this a separate section so that can then be unbolted and then there's no risk of the wax snapping or pulling the rubber off and damaging the wax itself. We've gone down the side, the arms, down to the legs, and then the knees here. This is all going to be one section, so that can then be bolted and dismantled quite easily and efficiently. And again, with the legs are going to have front and back, so I've just separated down the ankles, around the bottoms of the feet, and then you're going to have a little plug mould, which then goes on the soles of his feet. So then this is going to be a front mould, back mould, all the molds. And then here we're going to have the same. It's going to be just, I reckon, this whole one piece of rubber which then can peel away. But what I will do is I will split the jacket at the knees here, so that basically we can get all of the rubber off in one piece, but the mold, the jacket's going to prevent having any locks. So I'm going to just create a mother mold that's going to go down and dismantled down the bottom, and then one from the top. So it's just going to be easy dismantled. So yeah, this is the shimming